Hey, this is Apestyles recording segment 2 of my 200 rebuy win. If you haven't watched the first segment, I'd recommend it, as I will be referring to it in this video and the next videos. Let's get to it. So in the first hand, I raised to 2.5x, which is a rather large raise compared to the current tournament landscape. Not that many people are 2.5xing. However, we all are about 50 big blinds deep or more. And we have players who are flatting or 3-betting a pretty high percent. So I believe that a 2.5x raise is more optimal in this situation, or is optimal in this situation. Also, as a side note, I want to bring up that with 30 big blind stacks or more, I've been experimenting with raising to 2.5x with my whole range and raising a little bit tighter than I have in the past. And that's a direct exploitation of the fact that people are calling the big blind so wide and everyone's just flatting so much. So it's something I've been working with to exploit a general population tendency. Now, I'm not really 2.5xing with 20 big blind stacks, but it is something I'm definitely raising bigger overall. Also, from the CardRunners EV work I've done, I've kind of decided that from a game theory optimal perspective, a min raise probably is not the optimal raise because we're giving the big blind such a good price to call with everything. Anyway, versus this 3-bet, it's a 2x 3-bet, and in the same way that I've been defending the big blind super wide, we're getting similar odds as we would be getting in the big blind. We're getting 4-1, so we need to realize 20% equity of our hand's equity. I don't really fold ace jack getting 4-1 pre-flop. However, if let's say he definitely had like jacks plus ace king, I probably could fold that hand just because it'd be so difficult to realize my equity. But I'm not sure what his 3-bet range looks like. Looking at his stats, it appears that he is 3-betting a decent amount from the cutoff and button, enough to where he doesn't just have nuts. Although this sizing, a lot of the times you can reliably say with some players that they make it only this sizing with the nutted portion of their range. Some players just make these tiny 3-bets with rather than flat hands like king jack though. So it's really tough to say exactly what his range looks like. But I'm not folding. So we check, and the villain checks behind, and at this point, I would guess that the villain has either a weak ace, or jacks through kings, or the occasional checked back ace king. But there's not that much good reason to check back ace king when you can just bet 3 streets on a board like this. I don't really have 2s and 3s. And he could also be slow playing top set of aces, but considering I have an ace, that's a pretty unlikely possibility. So at this point in the hand, I believe that my plan was to bet 2 streets and fold if I'm raised at any point. I chose to bet rather large, more than half pot, which in my opinion is probably a little bit too big, since I am going to be trying to get 2 streets of value here. And it's just a bit committing. This 6 is kind of a nothing card. The 4 was more dangerous, especially considering he can have ace 5 suited and such. And I bet rather largely again, and the villain called with worse, so I'm a genius. But I want to point out that I think that I should probably be betting a little bit smaller in this spot.